Hey there friends, Dana here, otherwise known as Dana Spirit Butterfly to some. This video is my usual energy forecast for the lunar cycle. Alongside me is not just the voice that I represent as a woman of my generation, sitting here on this land, Bundjalung land, as I pay my respects to the elders past, present and emerging, recognising that sovereignty was never ceded and that I am grateful as a woman born in Ghana country to be gifted with a home here for now. As I land on lunar cycle, we offer these as a bit of a commentary to introduce those who aren't familiar and to deepen hopefully the intelligence that this represents to those who are familiar and would like a little bit more guidance or support around what energies are present around lunar cycles. We offer this as an awareness to cultivate attention towards some things that do impact all of us, that often maybe isn't spoken about or perhaps sits right on the edge of what you think or may not be true. And we advocate, me and my spirit guidance team, that each person needs to represent themselves in their own landscape of belief, and what it is that you feel is right for you is your responsibility to dialogue with. It's really important for you to understand that this energy offering is not to tell you how to behave or how to be as an independent expression of source. It is here simply to gift you with awareness of some of the energy influences that may move through you as an independent energy system, as an energy system that also is not alone, even though you have a physical body here and now for you, designed by you for you on some level, gifting you with a contact to your ancestral DNA. But also you are here to have life experience, and that life experience involves other people and also relationships. And as I land on relationships, Spirit is reminding me that relationships have really gone through the ringer across the last 3 months since the March movements of the eclipse and the equinox. There have been changes. Some of us had the desire to change but didn't step towards that change, and that is okay. You do still have the power of free will to decide what you want to do and to know whether or not you feel ready to move towards something that feels right to change. Also, change in itself can look like many different things. The energy influences of the last 3 months have specifically been about offering you the awareness that some things need to change in order for you to feel better, in order for you to feel more powerful, more loving, more available for the life that is being offered you. And as I say that, life in itself is an offering, it's not an imperative. You are always able to choose the degree to which you interact with people and others and animals and plants and food and TV and all of the things. You're always in some form of influence around how to dance, I like to use the term dance, with these things. All of them are relationships. Relationships aren't always just with people, but inevitably as beings with a heart, with compassion and a desire to be in relationship with beings that have the potential to reflect us. We do need to have compatible dialogues with individuals that seem to speak our language and offer us more opportunities to explore the unique beingness that we are. And so with the lunar cycles, again, these are offerings. It's not an imperative. You do not have to follow the lunar cycles in order to be wealthy and healthy and wise. These are energetic containers, if you will, spaces that hold maps to associate your truth through or with. Just like with the archetypes. As I land on archetypes, the archetype of mother is an archetype that so many of us have to dance with, because I don't know if it's news for you, but we all have one. And we all meet people who meet the criteria of mother or mothering or mother to someone else. And these energies impact all of us. From the collective perspective, we all hold an awareness of how the collective, i.e. our communities and society, see and view mothers. Also fathers, also siblings, also men if you're a woman, and woman if you're a man, and also women if you're a woman, and man if you're a man. Like, all shades under the sun, your orientation, your choice, and your voice to voice through. We are not here to shame or blame anybody. We are here to simply offer perspective so that you might see yourself maybe through a different lens, maybe through the same lens, but with an awareness of how other people are moving maybe differently to what you expect them to. And so as I land on expectations, we've already moved into the solar sign of Taurus. Now, I lean into astrology as a way of interfacing with the spirit dialogue to offer you a conversation. It, again, doesn't necessarily need to mean anything except where you can see something in reflection of what you're going through. And so it's up to you to see how this might relate to you. But we're in a solar sign of Taurus already. The Taurus energy is an earth sign. It moves slower. It tends to be more home-based, looking outwards rather than outside looking in at other people's houses. And so you may find yourself craving deeply to be more with yourself across this lunar cycle, not just because the sun is in Taurus, but also because the new moon on the 28th of April, 27th if you're in other places in the world. I'm here in Australia, of course, so for us it'll be the 28th of April. From the 28th of April, the new moon is in Taurus, and Taurus very much speaks about the home and the self and our orientations within that. Spirit's also bringing me back to a deeper conversation that nearly all of us have across our lifetimes. As we get older and travel through our developmental pathways, it becomes necessary as we meet restrictions and constrictions and maybe conflicts and uncertainty and doubt. It is natural and normal for us to start to look backwards in order to try to self-resource some support. For you might find that as an adult in your home environment, the support that you feel like you need at home isn't available. You may start to look back at your life path and the way that you've moved through this system, this currency, this conversation for you, and you might notice that there are some times where you've had someone at home that's felt safe and lovely, and maybe they're not around anymore. Or maybe they were good for a while and then something changed. Now, change is normal and natural, but during a Taurian portal, during a Taurian energetic, a lot of us sit uncomfortably with the idea of change. And so, and also, we're following a path of the last 3 months of a massive amount of suggestion that we need to change. Also looking, of course, at the global situation at the moment. There's so much need for change, and the voice of compassion to move towards something that's a better reality at the moment is a bit difficult for a lot of us to reach. Particularly if we're looking backwards and seeing that the home environments that maybe we've had haven't felt supportive, and therefore anger and frustration and maybe a bit of fatigue and overwhelm from what we've experienced and gone through will be felt in your body. It will be felt in your system. Now, Spirit is reminding me that a lot of this grief, a lot of this heaviness, a lot of this density can be processed through the process of dreaming. And dreaming obviously requires you to be able to drop into some form of restful sleep. Although that said, some of your dreams might be upsetting you right now, and if you're having trouble sleeping because you're feeling like it's a bit too heavy for you, Spirit is saying there are some tools that we're going to suggest to you in order to help you with your dream states and help you to rest a little bit more fully. The first tip is going to be drink lots of water. Now, some people might say, oh, if I drink lots of water, I'm going to have to get up and pee a lot during the night. And Spirit is saying it actually doesn't matter if you need to get up and urinate frequently. What matters is that you get sleep. And getting up sometimes when your body needs to flush something out actually resets your system. Getting up to move, to go to the bathroom, and then coming back to bed, sometimes your system will start to find a bit more ease and you'll drop more fully into dream state more fully. So after the new moon, very quickly after the new moon, we actually have a Celtic celebration that moves through all of our energy systems, obviously differently in different hemispheres. And also here in Australia, we're a bit confused because a lot of the cyclic nature that we've been left with, the seasonal changes that have been offered us as primarily an Anglo-Celtic colonialist system imprinted on a landmass that's in the other side of the hemisphere from the traditions that many of us still practice. We are currently journeying here in the southern hemisphere through the portal of Samhain. Now, Samhain is the equivalent of Halloween. It is the older version of Halloween, and so Halloween brings up ideas of, you know, ghosts and ghouls and trick-or-treating and all of those things. Let's just say that that is a more Hollywoodized version of what Samhain originally was, which Samhain is the passing through to the other side. Samhain is the time where we acknowledge that with the fading light comes also a heritage of times where the abundance drops, where our energy systems start to become more introspective and inwards facing. But also during the quieter months, there was a lot of famine and illness that used to plague our much deeper ancestors. So during this period of time, here in the southern hemisphere, we are celebrating Samhain, otherwise known as the much older version of Halloween. And another associated celebration I like to suggest that Samhain represents is also the South American tradition of the Day of the Dead. Now, I mention these because, you know, sometimes, particularly if you feel like you've got a witchcraft past life and maybe you're aligning or curious about the deeper feminine landscapes, it is helpful to do a bit of research and to see how different countries address death and dying and address these portals, these ideas of the veil between the living and those that don't have bodies anymore, those who have passed and are now on the other side of the veil. Or as Spirit often reminds me, we're the ones on the other side of the veil. We simply return back to that which we are. Over there, the veil is thinner, meaning or suggesting that during this time period, here in the Southern Hemisphere, it is much easier for us to commune with Spirit and also to speak to our ancestors. And so I have a couple of courses that teach people how to commune with Spirit and commune with ancestors. And so if this is interesting to you, I invite you to check out my Patreon work. I'll leave a link in the video if you're curious. But these types of practices can help us to get a better sense of those that came before, the traditions that move much more easily through our unconscious awareness, and can be made conscious, and by making it conscious can act as a wealth of resource as to how to live better, how to navigate life force better, and how to feel more safe and sound in my own system. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, you are about to journey through the portal of Beltaine. And Beltaine is a fire celebration. It usually invoked like the community to get together and to have a massive bonfire. And it is the time period where everybody begins to celebrate the coming of spring. The moving towards summer. And during that period of time, themes like high fertility, celebrating the masculine and feminine, the divine masculine and feminine, and sacred union is the conversation in the Northern Hemisphere. So again, if you want to learn more about this, you know, me and Spirit talk about this sometimes in our training containers, because, you know, these help us to align better with the earth magic and with our own traditions. Typically the more dominant traditions also helps us to disarm some of the westernized cultures, bypassing of some of the very valid, very nature-based supportive celebrations that so many of our ancestors used to engage in. Please do some research. I inspire you. Samhain and Beltaine is right at the end of the month, in early May. As I land on early May, Spirit informed me a while ago, pretty much just before all the eclipse started to move through, that from May things will get easier. And your picture in that will be your picture, it'll be specific to you. If you want to know more about that, then please book a reading. I'm very happy to read for you, to maybe have a conversation with you about what's moving through your energy system, maybe what your spirit and guardians, guides, ancestors have to say about what's going on through your life and maybe why. And also gift you with some support and some tools and some awarenesses of how to move forwards in a way that's more supportive and nourishing for you, so that you really feel better in your bones, better in your soul, better in your spirit, more aligned in your own energy system. Well, heading into mid-May, around the 13th of May, is the full moon in Scorpio. And Scorpio energy for some people can be a little bit confronting. Scorpio energy often is a very relational conversation, and one that talks more deeply around things that may make some people uncomfortable. And so Spirit is showing me that we've already done a lot of shedding being the process of us meeting parts of ourselves that maybe feel uncomfortable, or maybe old dialogues that we're still carrying that need to go. The full moon in Scorpio will offer us another slight return to some of those dialogues. And it's about a 3-day window, typically with full moons, the energetic imprint and the availability to work with the full moon rather than against the full moon to support and serve yourself and ultimately your expansion. The time period in itself can be very valuable, very useful for you to go a bit deeper into your own awareness around the dialogues that are supportive or unsupportive for you personally. And we also want to share that, you know, often what people do across the full moon period is that they feel a little bit ungrounded, a little bit maybe less safe, a little bit more disconnected from truth and reality. And this is also possible across that period of time if you don't take some steps to be grounded and present and to listen to your deeper conversation. And again, I'm going to always, with these videos, encourage you to go and look at some of my work and dive into some of the containers that we design those. We design those specifically to hold people through their processes and also to help them to self-resource the deeper consciousness. You know, we call it the deeper well. You're a cellular intelligence that belongs not just to your body and also your ancestral lineages, but also your soul's intelligence and also your psychic abilities. As we land on psychic abilities, shortly after the full moon, we're offering our next cycle for the clairs, which is the 6 psychic senses. I like to call them spidey senses. And so if you want to journey a little bit more fully into your awareness of what your subtle senses are, your psychic senses are, then again, Patreon, please look at the work there. As we start to journey with that, we start to head towards the solar sign of Gemini. And Gemini in itself can be an energy that feels light and airy. It can start to ease some of the pressure of the full moon in Scorpio, and you'll start to feel a little bit better in your lungs. That said, the Gemini energy can also very quickly become ungrounded. In its desire for connection, it can actually undermine the self's true storyline. And moving into social spaces where you're not able to consciously voice that which is intelligently moving through you in a way that feels potent for you, if you aren't aware of how to communicate effectively in order to make your voice matter, but also receive loving kindness and nourishing responses in return, then the Gemini energy can actually, you know, like for all the giddiness and the fun and the flavors, might leave you then coming home feeling a little bit empty or emptied by social situations. And so as we start to wrap up the lunar cycle, our advice to you, because we head into a new moon in Gemini around the 27th of May, so the end of the month, practically a full calendar month, this lunar cycle. We're urging you just to stay grounded and present with yourself. Spirit's reminding me that the earth is changing very rapidly, and when it moves really rapidly, it's very easy to lose sense of the body, lose sense of your mind maps, and lose sense of where you are in space and time, and to fall into other realities. And those realities, particularly if they're high in their kinetic energy, can energy siphon you, leaving you actually almost vampirically siphoned. And those energy spirals, we teach a lot about energy spirals in the Rose initiation work that we offer, primarily again because we're tired of these phenomena happening and people lacking the awareness that they have some impact on how these move through their energy system. We make those as gifts to you. If you're curious, please check that out, patreon.com/Dana Spirit Butterfly. If you'd like a personal reading or some time with me, please visit my website, which is www.danaspiritbutterfly, that's DANA spiritbutterfly.com. I have a book now button there. I also have a new venue here in Mullum that I'll be working out of on Wednesdays in Mullumbimby if you're in the Byron Shire area and you'd like a session. So please just send me a message to ask about those, and we'll talk about what our conversation might be around that. So what else did I want to share? Yeah, and just again, just to say, if you're looking at some training, and please come into the training containers. They are the start, the ones I have on Patreon are the start of much more active engagement in your own life's resource. The two that I offer are the Claire's 18th of May, that starts, and the Rose initiation, which we won't cycle that again until July, but both of them you can do self-paced on your own at any time, and they start to move then into deeper layers. So with that, kisses from Dana Spirit Butterfly. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to our next time. Much love. Bye.